I'm just pivoting to an objection that I know how to handle when somebody gives me something that's impossible to handle. We have to be a little bit more crafty and skillful and don't get flustered, right? It's going to happen. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the How to Sell Insurance podcast. This is Ryan Federico here with Ashton Delango Lunde. Our dear friend, Grant Lieber, is probably drinking, smoking a cigar on the lazy river at the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. Hey, we're talking about objections, and we're coming off of record months, actually, for our master agency, Ashton's agency, setting brand new records, people doing some amazing stuff. Got a producer in his second month just busting out $174,000 like it's nothing. Amazing stuff. And we wanted to do a quick video that talks about objections. We're actually going to do a two-part series. The first one is about phone objections, and the second one is about appointment objections and how to overcome appointment objections. But it all starts with the phones. It starts with setting an appointment with somebody, whether this is text message or whether this is calling somebody. You can refer to our other episodes about how to get people on the phone through text message. But before we start with the most common phone objections, I want to set the table just really quickly. First off, what are the best times to call? What are the best times to actually reach out to clients to start the conversation? My general answer is anytime that you can pick up the phone between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. local time is probably a good time to call people. Of course, there's better times. We're going to dive into what those are. But what's your philosophy on that, man?
Yeah, I mean, the short of it is if you don't have appointments, it's probably time to start dialing, especially if this is your full-time job. You know, that's going to be the most important thing, because if you don't have appointments, then you have nothing to do. And there are some times where people pick up more often than others. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll dive into those times. I think it's coming off of a record month. For those who don't know, a person on Ashton's team, one of his business partners, Dylan Crane, came out and just set brand new record, pace setter, Roger Bannister running the 4-minute mile, letting everybody know what's up. And we've been getting a lot of questions from all over the company, all over the industry, like, oh, what's this guy doing? What's his secret sauce? Yeah. And it's like, there's no complex answer to success, right? He's getting leads, he's calling them, he's setting appointments, and when he doesn't have appointments, it's time for him to start calling, right? It's very simple. And he's just applying himself and being very focused and being very diligent and putting 30 and 40 appointments a week on his calendar. It's not a shock that when you are good and you put 30 to 40 appointments a week on your calendar, you end up writing $174,000 and issuing most of it and making a pretty good amount of money in 1 month. So for a long time, our company operated in only the best times to call. We're going to call evenings, we're going to call weekends, we're going to call holidays, when people are home, basically. And a dramatic shift happened for us when we just started calling in the morning. This funny little phenomenon happens with insurance agents is we get lazy, especially if you're independent, because you got nobody watching you, nobody's forcing you to work. So what I found, at least for me, is when I tell myself in my head, I'm going to call at 4 p.m., and then the rest of the day kind of gets in the way, I'm unlikely to start calling at 4 p.m. But if I start calling at 9 a.m., even if it's a Monday, even if it's a Wednesday, and I just get on the phone and start calling at 9 a.m., I'm more likely to have been in the groove throughout the day getting stuff accomplished, and I'll pick the phone back up at 4 p.m. And so we adopted people jumping in and starting making calls at the beginning of the day, even if it's for an hour, even if it's for 45 minutes, just get in the habit of starting to work. If you don't have appointments, probably time to get on the phones, right? So I want to make a t-shirt that says that, Ashton. So I want to, I guess, highlight a couple of the times that are better than not. Friday afternoon into the evening is probably one of the best times to be calling people. People just got off work. They just got paid. A lot of times they're going into the weekend. They're feeling good. Most of the time people are at home on Fridays and, you know, they're out on Saturday nights. And so Friday night, great time to call people, probably one of the best times of the week. Saturday morning, we just came off of a little dial session Saturday morning with our team and had a lot of appointments set. So Saturday mornings, people haven't gone to the birthday parties or to Home Depot or to anything like that. Saturday college football, Sunday NFL, great times to call people because they're sitting at home, chilling out, barbecuing, watching football. Really easy to contact them. Evenings, when people get off work, also a great time. Probably in that order. It's probably Friday night, Saturday morning, number one. Sunday, if you choose to work on Sundays, certainly a great day to contact people. Then in the evenings, Monday through Thursday. And then if there's a holiday on a Monday. Holiday on a Monday, great time to call people, especially the beginning half of the day when nobody's gone to the Labor Day barbecue yet. Nobody's at the Memorial Day picnic, right? Like everybody's at home chilling out from 9 to noon. Call them.
Yeah.
That's the best times to call people. Before we get into the objections that you're going to hear, it's important to put ourselves in the position of a client. So imagine it's you and you're just living your life. You're at the grocery store, you're driving down the road, you're fixing something at your house, you're sitting at your computer, whatever, and you get the dreaded call from a number you don't know. Phone starts buzzing, Apple Watch is going off. You look at it and you're like, who is this number? It's a random out-of-state number. Well, you're probably going to kick that thing to voicemail, most likely. And then it calls you back again, and you're like, what the heck's going on? Why is this person calling me a second time, right? And then same thing. You kick it to voicemail like 75, 80% of the time, and then the number calls you a third time in a row. And now you're thinking, oh, man, is something wrong with my family? Is it one of my neighbors? Like, what's going on here? Let me pick up the phone and see who this is. But when you pick up the phone and you say, hello, what you're really saying is, hello, who the hell is this? And why'd you call me 3 times in a row? Right. And so as we're dialing leads, as we're calling people, we need to anticipate that's how they're going to be answering the phone. They're answering the phone with, I think this is a mistake to be doing this, but I'm answering it anyway. And you have a very limited amount of time to prove to them that it wasn't a mistake for them to answer the call. Right.
And that's that first key when you're dialing is very just simply in that connecting phase of my interaction with them. I have to shift that attention and that focus off of me and onto them. It's how do we do that? And that's the biggest key and most critical part, especially in the beginning, because that first part is what's going to determine, 1, am I going to get a bunch of objections? 2, are they even going to stay on the phone? Much less, am I going to get even an objection? And how I set that tone is so important. And that's the first thing. If I sound like I'm just in some call center and they hear 84 other people calling behind me, they're going to know. It's, hey, would you like to know about your car's extended warranty? Well, they're going to hang up quick. And that's one of the biggest keys when I get on the phone. It's how do I sound? Do I sound like someone they want to talk to and at least entertain for the next 30 to 45 seconds? So that way we go, hey, is this someone I'm going to stay on the phone with? And that's the first key.
Dude, 100%, man. I think you use an NEPQ strategy. Shout out to Jeremy Miner. Let's talk about like how you disarm people when they first answer the phone, and you have that 30 to 45 seconds to kind of make or break the rest of your call. But before you kind of jump into that, we all have gotten these calls. If you're a adult human being in the United States of America and you have a cell phone, you've gotten these calls. Hello, sir. How are you today? We know what it sounds like as a telemarketer. And so if you're starting off a call saying, hey, how's it going? Click, you're causing people to hang up on you, right? Because you're starting off a conversation, building sales resistance immediately because you're using language and tonality and verbiage that telemarketers use. You sound like a telemarketer. You're talking fast. You don't sound calm and relaxed. You're using phrases that are like trigger words for people wanting to hang up on you. So when you're calling somebody, Ashton, and following the NEPQ method of always be disarming, how are you disarming that person picking up the phone going like, why'd you call me 3 times?
Depends on the type of lead you're working. If you're working a brand new versus an old lead, there's going to be a difference in how I call. On a brand new lead, there's not a lot of preemptiveness that goes into it. Hey, you probably get a lot of phone calls and sure you're tired. Like I don't have to go into all of those of preemptively getting out some objections. And I can go right into the, hey, John, hey, John, it's Ashton. It looks like you recently filled out this request for insurance. I can get right into it because it's something that was done 1, 2, 3, 4 days ago. It's something that's very fresh. They've filled out a form and they 100% are waiting and wanting a phone call. Like, I don't have to be as clever to get past the first paragraph. If it's an aged lead, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 months old, 2 years, 3 years old, I have to be a lot more skilled in my introduction because they are not wanting a phone call. They've maybe talked to someone, maybe someone never called, but at this point, it is far beyond what they were expecting for a phone call from the time they filled out the form. Because either they told someone no already, or they haven't gotten a call. They're like, I talk to clients all the time where it's like, yeah, I filled that form out 2.5 years ago. No one ever talked to me. Maybe they just never picked up the phone when someone called for the last 2 years. Or they're like, yeah, no one talked to me. I've been sitting here waiting and no one's talked to me.
Or most likely they picked up the phone and somebody fumbled the first 5 words and they hung up on them and just thought they were a telemarketer. Right. And so it's more likely what we're talking about. And then they end up 2 years later going, nobody's ever called me.
Yeah, hitting it right on the head. And on the first part, like I said, brand new lead, there's not much you have to go into. It's just, hey, is this John? Yeah, great. It looks like you filled out the request a week ago or about a few days ago. Requested the information about the life insurance, the mortgage protection, the final expense, whatever it is. Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, so I'm looking here. Looks like you put and I'm just right into it. Now, if it's an age lead, I have to be a little bit more skilled. I like to get out some of those objections within the first sentence. Hey, is this John? Yeah, it's John. Hey, John. This is just Ashton. I'm sure you've been getting a ton of phone calls, and for whatever reason, the system never got updated. It looks like you kind of asked for some information about the mortgage protection. I think it was a couple months ago. What ended up happening with that? I'm immediately shifting that focus, and everything in my script is scripted to a T. Every speed up, every slow down, every stutter. Every single piece of it is scripted exactly in order to help. In the beginning, hey, it's just Ashton, getting the familiarity, getting a little resistance taken off. And I don't want them to go, man, I filled that out forever ago. Why am I just, I've been, you're like the 8th person to call me in the last 3 days. Why does everyone keep calling me? I've already handled that. That's now taken out of their tool bag. Hey, I'm sure I've been getting a bunch of phone calls. And for whatever reason, it looks like the system never got updated. I'm not confused about why I'm calling. I'm just confused, why is there not an update? You have a lead. No one's told you. They said no. No one's told you. Someone sat down with them already. If you're like anyone in the industry, I don't know a single person that gets a lead, especially if it's aged. Like, yeah, here's everything that's happened on the lead. Here's the history. I've never gotten that. Yeah, the system's not updated here. It looks like you... Could I ask for some information about the mortgage protection? Looks, yeah, it's probably a couple months ago. What ended up happening with that? And that's stutter specific. It's the speed up. Looks about the mortgage protection a couple months ago. That's not important. We're going to speed up. It's not where we're focusing. The stutter. What ended up happening with that? It's a pattern interrupt. I'm interrupting where they either might be thinking of, yeah, it was a long time ago. Why are you just now calling me? Or, yeah, I keep telling everyone that I'm interrupting them in order to get the exact that I want, which is what happened. Did someone talk to you? Did someone go over options? Did no one talk to you? Did you book an appointment you couldn't show? You got sick and then they never called back to reschedule because you told them you couldn't make it and then they never followed up? Like, what happened? And then that's going to direct my phone call. But now I've completely shifted the focus off of me. Who am I? What am I calling about? It's just, hey, I'm following up on this. Tell me what happened. I want you to tell me, like, what's going on? What happened? Now the focus is on them.
Well, I think there's like so many great things there, and hopefully you guys are playing back that video and writing that down and practicing it. One of the things with the NEPQ style is being disarming, acting a little bit confused, and the client has to, like, human beings by nature are helpful. I know not every human being seems like they're helpful, but human beings by nature are helpful. And if you're kind of struggling, maybe, a little bit, a lot of times they want to help, right? And so they're actually going to help you get your question out because they want to understand what you're saying. And so there's a couple words in there that are very specific. Like the word just is very specific. So, hey, I'm just following up on the request that you had made for the life insurance. Hey, I'm just following up on the new products that we have for XYZ. Hey, I'm just following up on the mortgage protection coverage that you had requested when you closed on your home loan. Hey, it's just Ashton calling you, and I like the word just takes some of the pressure off, as in like, hey, don't worry about it, it's okay. And it starts disarming people. And then when Ashton goes through the rest of the pausing, and I don't understand what's going on here. Did the system not get updated? Or I mean, whatever ended up happening with this, right? And so you're
Yeah.
sounding concerned, you have questions, it decreases the tension, right? It disarms people, it makes them relax, and you get to the answer that you're actually looking for faster. And so I think there's two main points that I take away from that. Number one is we always want to be disarming. So we want to enter in with the idea that we know what our first couple sentences are already going to be. We have them locked down, practiced, we've repeated them over and over again. We know that they're disarming for most people. The second part, though, that's very important is the best time to overcome an objection is before it happens. And if you know you're calling old leads, you know what some of those objections are going to be. I've already taken care of this, or that was a long time ago, or I don't remember doing that. So you can start off, if you're calling an aged lead, I love doing this when I call old leads. I say, hey, Ashton, listen, you probably don't remember doing this, but back when you closed on the loan with XYZ Bank, it looks like you requested some mortgage protection coverage. That's the benefit that if you died, it would pay off your house, or if you had a major illness or something like that, it would make the mortgage payment for you if you were disabled. And I see here in our system, it looks like we assigned you a few people that they haven't updated the system here. So did you ever get this options that you had requested? And again, just sounding a little confused. And hey, I'm just updating the system here, and I don't take it out on me. I'm not the bad guy that called you 3 times in a row. Like I'm helpless, and I know you probably already got this taken care of, and it's fine. I just need to update the system, right? It's disarming for people. And so if you know that there's common objections that you're going to get, feel free to handle those before they come out, right? And posture yourself in a place where you don't have to deal with them as they come.
Yeah, and that's the key, especially in that second sentence. So whether it's mortgage protection, and maybe they're not super old. Maybe you're calling 2-3 months old leads and no one's saying, oh, I'm getting a bunch of phone calls. Maybe they're like, I did this so long ago. How come this is the first time I've heard from someone? Maybe that's what hey, this is just Ashton. I'm sure you probably filled this out a while ago, and it looks like we never got in touch with you. I'm sorry. We've been really backed up. But did you guys ever get that mortgage section taken care of, or what ended up happening? Like, maybe that's what you throw in. Like, whatever that objection you're getting is, you can throw it in right there. And typically, if it's an age lead, it's almost always going to be everyone keeps calling. But maybe it's something different for you. Maybe you're working brand new leads, and you keep hearing everyone go, oh, yeah, just tell me the number right now. I tried to fill this out, and no one's telling me what the quote is yet. It's like the 5th form I filled out, and I can't find a quote. Oh, maybe that's an objection you're getting a lot of. Again, just start, hey, John, this is just Ashton. I know you filled that form out online. You're looking for the quote, and I was trying to get everything put together for you. That way I could get you all the information. And I had just a few more things so I could get everything put together. But I just want to make sure, do I have the right person? Is this John Doe? Looks like the security answer was this that you put out. Is this the right person? Great. You know what they're not going to say? Yeah, just tell me what the quote is now. Because you just already handled that. Because hey, I got to go through this so I can.
Totally, man. And there was a response that we gave in the texting episode that was about doing a takeaway. So if somebody goes dormant on you, you're in a conversation with them, and they kind of die out and they stop texting you, they ghost you. Coming back to them with a text message that goes, hey, I'm so sorry I dropped the ball. I got so busy and I just got sidetracked, and I apologize. When's a good time for us to jump back on this? When somebody reads that message and they realize that they're the one that actually left you on red, left you hanging, or ghosted you, they feel bad because you're taking responsibility. So what Ashton just did when we're calling somebody, especially if it's a mid-aged lead, like it's, a couple months old or something like that. Hey, John, I'm so sorry. We've been so slammed and we're short-staffed. I've been running 15-hour days. I know we were supposed to get back to you sooner than this. And look, I've got your case in front of me, and I really just want to help get these options out to you as quick as possible. So I see here that your date of birth was January 12th, 1971. Is that right? And you just go right into it, but you're apologizing, which immediately disarms them. Well, wait, you don't need to be sorry. It's like, it wasn't your fault. Most people are going to feel that way. So kind of leading in with the disarming language. Then we get into the actual objections that we get. And the good news for all of you out there in insurance land is there's really only 5 objections that you get. Honestly, there's really only 3 objections that you get. We're going to go over a couple of those here, and we'll save the 2. Sometimes you're going to get these and what they really are for just a minute. But the 3 that you're going to get the most often are either we already got coverage, it was too expensive, or call me back later, right? And there are many different forms of those. Call me back later. It could be like, hey, I can't talk right now. Hey, I've got to wait till I get home to talk to my spouse, whatever it is. It's too expensive can also come across in many different ways. It's too expensive could be like, oh, we changed our mind. We're good. Thanks. I'm not interested. Could really just mean it's too expensive. So let's jump into the first one. I already got coverage. Now, this is going to happen for a lot of people that are working aged leads. But when somebody says, I already got coverage, there's really one response that we have back to people, especially if you're a broker, but even if you work directly for a captive insurance company, the response that we have back to people in essence is, what if I could get you a better deal? That's our response. But if we just say that, what if I could get you a better deal? It's salesy. We increase sales resistance. People want to get off the phone. Oh, no, thanks. I'm fine. Like, it's another salesperson trying to get my wallet, right? I don't want to jump through all those hoops again. So we want to intimate, what if I could get you a better deal without triggering sales resistance? And so one of the ways that I love to do this is very simple. I love to position myself as the inspector. And some people heard me do this morning. That's why it's on my mind. Let's go, hey, listen, I want you to think about me kind of like an inspector. I just double check the work that other agents do. And as you know, agents make money when you buy insurance from them. And sometimes they might not give you the best deal because it doesn't pay them as much. And so I'm just going to double check the work that they did throughout the system here. If we find an option that's better for you, I'll send it over to you. And at least you know that it's out there and you know what the best deal is. So with that in mind, I see here that you are 46. Is that correct? Now, 2 things I did there. Number 1, sow a little bit of doubt in the other policy. Number 2, I didn't ask if they would like me to find them a cheaper option. I just told them, I'm going to look in the system and find you a better option. I didn't ask them if it was okay if I did that. I just assumed that everybody would want a lower price. And I said, I see here that you're 43. Is that correct? So not giving them an opportunity to object or answer outside of the next question that I have. And I think that if there's one takeaway from this, how to overcome objections for anybody who's new out there, anybody who's struggling with objections, the key to overcoming any objection is to ask your next question, because the person who's asking the question is in control. And so it's always got to be rebuttal, 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 rebuttal. I see that you're 43. Is that correct? Rebuttal, rebuttal, rebuttal. So I see that you don't use tobacco. Is that true? Rebuttal, rebuttal, rebuttal. So it looks like the amount of coverage you wanted was $300,000. Is that right? And them giving you the answer to that question is them saying that you've won the objection. And so, man, so often I see people get caught up in this, like, I have to have them give me affirmation that I won. Be like, well, so I could just look you up in the system and see if there's a cheaper price for you. And I'm sure if I could find you a cheaper price, you would like that, right? And they wait for somebody to be like, you know what, Ashton, that would be swell. Why don't you go ahead and run me through your system and tell me if there's a cheaper price? They're never going to do that, ever. So you need to start training your brain that the way that you know you've won the objection is when somebody responds back, yes, that's correct, to when you ask them, are you 43? Right? Or when you ask them your next question. That's the way you get the response that you've won the objection and they're playing ball going forward. And you don't get stuck in this like weird purgatory of getting hung up on, right? So when somebody tells you that, like they already got covered or they already take care of it, what do you typically do?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a similar response. For me, I'm going to figure out what they have now. That's kind of step 1. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I kind of figured. I don't know why they didn't get this updated. Which carrier did they get you set up with? They're going to tell me, even they don't, oh, yeah, I don't remember that. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, no worries. We're able to get the entire, mortgage taken care of, like the $320,000 or just part of it? Like, how much did they get you set up? Oh, yeah, I got the full $300,000. Gotcha. All right. Yeah, and how much do they charge you a month for that? I'm going to figure out what it is. It doesn't matter what they say. It's going to be, wow, one penny? Why is it so expensive? Goodness gracious.
Wow.
Man. I mean, John, I mean, did they ask for your left kidney too? I mean, goodness gracious. Yeah, yeah. I thought it was kind of expensive. Man, what are you? Are you like over there chain smoking on me? Like, what's going on? No. I don't chain smoke. It's just 3 packs a day. I'm not a chain smoker though. Oh, okay, yeah. Any medical diagnosis? And then I'm going through getting the information I need, and now I'm booking the appointment. It's that simple. But I'm understanding. Hey, what do we have now? If I know the carrier, that's going to tell me what benefits they have, and even if you don't understand or know that yet, you can go Google it. Hey, they have Mutual of Omaha, they have State Farm, they have Globe, they have Nationwide. You can go Google and find most information about that product, even if you're not contracted with that company. You're going to understand, does it have living benefits? Does it not? Does it have cash value? Does it not? If they tell you, hey, they have a universal policy, and you go to their website and they don't sell universal policies, well, then they don't have what they think they have. It's going to give you a lot of information to then go, do they have what they think? And I had that exact situation this week when I sat with a client, and they said, I have 2 policies with State Farm and 1 policy with Mutual of Omaha. I pay $123, and I have over $100,000 in death benefit. He's like, I know it's a term. I was like, okay, well, term, all right, might make sense. When does it run out? He knew that the State Farms were a term, and he knew the Mutual of Omaha was a whole life. We call the carrier. He doesn't have any insurance with State Farm, and he had a $20,000 graded death benefit at Mutual of Omaha that he had no idea.
Yeah. Yep.
And then we switched that out, and he was instantly approved for a policy that spends $70 extra a month, but he at least has 67 grand, which was split 3 ways, the way he liked it between the kids. But now it's actually what he thinks it is, and it's going to last now for forever. So that's one of those biggest things of we have to inspect it, because a lot of people don't have what they think they have, and I'm helping them through that.
Countless times I've run into that. One very recently as well. We were talking about in Springfield when we were at 8%. Was a client who she thought, oh yeah, I have full coverage on both my husband and myself. If either of us die, the whole mortgage is going to be paid off. And I was like, you're 67, and you're paying $100 a month for $380,000 in coverage. It doesn't sound right for both of you. And was able to find out, she had like a $15,000 policy just on her and nothing on him, And so people a lot of times don't have what they think they have. And it's important for us to do what we need to do to research, to put them in a position where they're open to us researching, right? So one thing before we move on to objection number 2, one of the things that Ashton did in his rebuttal back to we already got coverage put in place is he used negative language to his benefit. So we typically, as agents, don't want to use negative language, things like charge or payment or contract, right? We don't want to use the language that consumers have negative connotation towards, right? We want to say things like premium or contribution or policy documents, or something like that, and use the words that people associate positively. Ashton, in creating some space between him and the other company, said, how much are they charging you for that? How much are they charging you for that?
Yeah.
Right? Like, they're the bad guys. Now we open them up to the possibility, same thing that I did with like agents make money when you buy insurance, and they might not give you the best options because it doesn't pay them as much, sowing a little bit of doubt, and then eventually ending up at the same position, which is, what if I could find you a better deal, right? Well, let me just look in our system here and see, there's got to be something better out there for you. Why don't I just take a look? I mean, you're not on like, drip IV and oxygen around your house, are you? Something like that. Transition into what if I could get you a better deal in a very reasonable way, right? So number 2, the second most common objection you'll get is any form of it's too expensive. One of those things, right? Whether we decided against it, we just can't afford it. Oh my God, I saw prices and it was, you guys are just crazy, and I can't believe that you would charge people that, whatever. Clearly they saw somebody and it was too expensive for them. And the general response to it's too expensive is, what if I could get you a better deal? It's the same as a response, right? It's like, what if I have an option that isn't too expensive for you? What if there is an option I don't know what they've seen? I don't know if they saw, a $300,000 whole life and somebody was pitching them on an infinite bank, or I don't know if somebody had a product that didn't qualify somebody with an illness that one of my products could qualify somebody with that same illness, or if it was a novice agent that didn't know that there was a carrier that had underwriting that could accept that particular condition, I have no idea what they've seen. So I want to just keep that possibility open again and just go, hey, do you remember, did they show you the A options, the B options, and the C options, or did they just show you one set of prices?
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's a very confusing question. And the client's going to be like, well, they just showed me one set of prices. And it's like, oh, okay, got it. Well, the reason why I ask is most agents, they're only going to show you the coverage that costs the most money because that's what pays them the highest commission. Sowing doubt. But I work a little bit differently. I'm going to look at the A options, the B options, and the C options. And there's never been a time when I haven't been able to find somebody affordable coverage. So why don't I just take a look and see what's out there? I see that you're 43. Is that right? And again, I'm not saying, do you want me to take a look and see if I can find you a better deal? No, just why don't I take a look and see what's out there? Are you 43? Yes. Now I got an answer that I won the objection and they're open to it, right? So I love this, like, it's too expensive or we changed our mind or whatever. Anything else that you add to that typically when you run into something like that, Ashton?
Yeah, so it's going to be very, very, similar for me. I'd say the difference that I do is going to be very simply, I'm doing the same. Oh yeah, it was too expensive. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, how much are they telling you it was gonna cost? And I'm gonna figure it out, and then whatever they price they say again, I'm gonna be surprised. Oh yeah, it was gonna be $100. How much coverage were they trying to get you? Was that like $1 million? Like, I
love it.
What? They're like, no, that was just like, I think that was just like the whole mortgage. Oh no, that was just for like 12 months of coverage. Okay, yeah, goodness. Wow, I don't know why it was so expensive. Man, I mean, you really like changed something. And again, I'm just gonna go right back into the health. I'm gonna understand what the health is, because when someone says, hey, they told me the price and it was way too expensive, typically I'm going to get that in the first paragraph. And typically it's going to be that, hey, I'm only in the first sentence or two, like, well, hey, we talked to someone, it was too expensive, so just go ahead and don't worry about this and, take us off the list. And then now I'm going right back to the health. But the very simple of it is, once I've overcome that objection, go back to wherever you were. So if I got that and I was filling out the health and like, listen, I actually, I went over these numbers before and it was too expensive, do my objection handling, but then I'm going to go right back to where I was, which at that point I was booking the appointment. Okay. Yeah. Wow. I don't understand. Yeah. It was so expensive. That's insane. Yeah. So I'm literally my calendar here. Looks like I have this day or this day, and I'm just right back to booking. So I go right back. I have to acknowledge the objection. I have to respond, and then I have to pivot back to wherever I was.
Yep.
And it's that simple.
I love it. And I mean, again, just with that, the same language of how much were they telling you it's going to cost, right? They, with a bad word, cost, right? Is really, really impactful. All right. Objection number 3. Objection number 3 is, call me back later. Call me back another time. I'm busy right now. Call me after work. I'm in the grocery store. Call me in 10 minutes. Call me in 15 minutes, like whatever it is. I got to talk to my spouse. Call me tonight. 99% of the time, this is just a client wanting to shake you off the phone. That's just reality.
Yeah.
They're not really busy. If they were too busy, they wouldn't have answered the phone. They've got 90 seconds to 2 minutes for you to like get the information you need and set them up with an appointment. And they're just shaking you off the phone. Maybe it's because you sound like a telemarketer, whatever it is. But what I tend to do, and this one is one of my favorite objections to get, is I agree with them because they're not expecting that. And so I go along with it. So somebody's like, hey, can you call me back later? I'm like, absolutely, definitely. When's a good time? Well, what's better for you? Like, I'm playing into it. And they're like, well, Monday's good. Like, oh, perfect. That's what time on Monday is typically the best for you? Well, probably when I get off work. Oh, okay, got it. What time do you normally get home from work? Oh, like 6 p.m.? Oh, perfect. So Monday at 6 p.m., I'm going to call you back. And hey, John, just so I can speed things up for our appointment and I don't have to spend a bunch of time with you then, I see here that when you made this request, you said you were 43. Is that correct? Yep. Okay, great. Any medical issues for you, like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, anything? And I'm just going to ask all the same questions I was going to ask anyway. And now I've got an appointment booked for Monday at 6, right? Instead of a callback booked for Monday at 6, because I have all the information and they didn't need to get off the phone anyway. They were just trying to shake me off the phone. And so this isn't an appointment I'm going to hang my hat on and plan on. I'd probably double book it just in case, but it's better than me having a call back and then chasing a person who's never going to pick up the phone again. Now I have all the information I need. Hopefully I've gotten into the why they want insurance. And I go, God, John, it sounds like we got to get you insurance. Okay, I'm going to do some research for you, and I'm going to figure out what you're going to qualify for. And I'll just go over those with you very briefly Monday at 6. It'll be 15 or 20 minutes. We'll knock this out, and I'll see you Monday at 6. So I love responding back to call me back later with that. There's one that's similar, though, Ashton, which is like, I need to talk to my spouse, right? Or like, hey, let me talk to my wife and see what time would be good. And so when you're getting things like that, like what are you typically telling people?
Yeah, it's a similar approach. I mean, for me, the first thing I do is, I'm gonna agree with it. Hey, look, I'm busy right now. Can you call me? Hey, absolutely. Yeah. So when someone gives the objection, hey, give me a call back later. I'm busy right now. Whatever the case is, the first thing I'm gonna do is, agree along with it. Hey, absolutely. That's actually exactly what I was calling. I just needed to verify some of the information you provided. That way I can give you a call back later like you're asking. I only have about, 30 or 40 seconds right now to just verify some information so we can get this out later to you. John, it looks like I had your age is 32. Is that right? Okay, great. And I'm going to go through everything. Now, am I going to get all the detailed information as I would in the same amount of time, the same style, same manner as I would if they didn't give me that objection? No. I'm going to make it a little bit speedier. Hey, any medical diagnosis for prescription medications? Yeah, I have a few medications. Okay, like what are you taking medication for? I don't need to know the names of every single one. Just like, what are you taking medication for? This, that. Okay, great. Yeah, looks like I have some availability either later today or tomorrow, which is better for you. Okay, great. And then I'm just into booking it. But the first thing is I'm just agreeing with it and then letting them know, hey, listen, I don't have a lot of time right now either. I only have a few seconds just to verify what you provided so we can go over everything later. That's all.
I love that. Like the takeaway, like, man, listen, I couldn't even do this with you right now, even if you wanted me to. I don't have enough time. I need to just verify a little bit of this information, and then I'll set up another time where we can actually go over this together. So I see here that you're 43. Is that right? I love that response where it's just, you do the takeaway of power. I think the last one that we want to go over is not interested. This a lot of times can be the one that trips, especially new agents up. Well, they said they're not interested. Yeah. What do I do now? And here's the problem is 90% of the time, the reason why they're saying not interested is because you sound like a telemarketer most of the time. So check your voice, slow it down, be disarming, use some of the strategies that we taught you, and you're probably going to get a lot less not interested. But if you do get not interested, the only reasons why somebody could be not interested is because of some of the objections we've already gone over. They're not interested because they already got coverage, or they're not interested because they saw prices and it cost too much. Basically, that's it. So when somebody tells you they're not interested, I normally say, perfect, that's exactly why I'm calling. Let me update this file so you stop getting calls from me. Now they've got a reason to stay on the phone. When you say you're not interested, is that because you already got coverage taken care of, or because you saw prices and it was too expensive? And I just change it into one of those other two. And those are the only options I give them. Oh, got it. Perfect. So that's exactly why I'm calling. I just want to update our system here so you stop getting these calls from me. So when you say you're not interested, is that because you already got coverage put in place, or because you saw prices and it was too expensive? And I'm only going to let them go one of those two. Oh, yeah, we already got the coverage taken care of. Perfect. That's exactly why I'm calling. Think about me kind of like the inspector, and I'll go into mine. Ashton would go into his, right? And so I'm just pivoting to an objection that I know how to handle when somebody gives me something that's impossible to handle. If somebody's telling you they're not interested and you're like, well, what do you mean you're not interested? It's like you're going to lose that objection every single time. So we have to be a little bit more crafty and skillful in how we overcome somebody saying they're not interested, and don't get flustered. Right? It's going to happen. Any last thoughts on this stuff, Ashton?
Yeah, like you said, if someone says not interested, it's a different objection. It's what is that other objection that we're really trying to handle? And, oh yeah, I got you. I kind of figured. I'm not sure why that didn't get updated. Like, did someone go out there, like already go over the options, or what ended up happening? They're going to tell you, here's the objection. It was too expensive. I didn't see value in the coverage, or whatever it is. They're going to, or I already have coverage. Gotcha. Okay. Which company did you get set up with? How much coverage did you get? Now it's just, again, walking through one of those other ones. Anytime it's the not interested, I just have to figure out what the other real objection is. And then you're able to handle that one.
I love it. I love it. Hopefully you guys got some value out of how to overcome these objections. I got to be honest. I'm doing a podcast with two dudes that have closed over $100,000 in a single month, and I haven't yet. My biggest month was 70. And so like 72 or something like that, which I know is great. But now I'm on a quest, and I got to hit that 100K month. I got to get that thing across the line. So keep coming back here. Keep learning from the stuff that we're teaching. Use all the resources that are at your fingertips. Send us some messages. Hit us up with DMs, like whatever you need to get the information that's going to help you get to the next level. People are crushing it right now. Our industry is on fire. We are growing at such a rapid pace. It is possible for you as long as you can learn and develop and still put some of these things in your business, right? So keep coming back here. We're going to keep hitting you with fresh content. Make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on that little bell so you know anytime that we release a new video, and we will be back to you ASAP. Later, everybody. See ya.